Hey everybody, it's good to see all of you. Now I know what you're thinking. This is not Billionaires Row in New York City. I get it, I know. Missed the flight, but I had to miss the flight. Long story, good story, but tomorrow, God willing, we will be back in New York City. We will be back in New York City tomorrow. So I thought I'd pop on pretty late, 10 p.m. Take a quick walk around downtown Miami and Brickell. We'll check out the Aston Martin building, the brand new Miami Riverwalk, and then we will make our way to the Brickell City Center. Now, before we get started here, just a quick, quick few announcements. Today is Thursday, which means we just emailed out our free investing newsletter called Behind the Street. So go ahead and check your email as we're watching the Metro Mover zoom by. Go ahead and check your email because you should have received it. Now you'll notice the format of this week's newsletter is a little bit different, but I thought it would be important to cover the major events, right? Which we talked about yesterday, and kind of how we come to this point in the market, going all the way back through a little bit of history to the 2008 financial crisis and what the Federal Reserve had to do in order to get us out of that crisis, right? Which is an acronym called ZIRP, Zero Interest Rate Policy. Now, if you want to sign up to receive our newsletter, if you have not already, all you have to do is scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, or type !news, NEWS, in the chat, and the Nightbot will drop the link to our newsletter. We publish every other Thursday right as the market is closing. Now we're on the corner of Southeast 4th Street. We are right outside of the Epic Hotel and Residences. But we're gonna be checking out this building right here. This is the Aston Martin building. It looks pretty unbelievable, and we're gonna be doing a quick walk around the newly extended Riverwalk by the Aston Martin. Now that we have the light, we'll quickly cross. I'd also like to mention today, I believe, is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And I think today, even more so, honestly, than Memorial Day, is, a really good day to remember all of those Allied forces who fought against the scum, the filth of the earth, right? The Nazis, to liberate and create freedom and prosperity for all in the new world we live in. I mean, you wouldn't have any of these beautiful buildings in Miami if it wasn't for that Operation Overlord taking it to the enemy. So, 2 thumbs up for the Allied forces in America. And thank you to all of our service members, servicemen and women who are currently still serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. All right, with that being said, let me go ahead and say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll go ahead and get started. I see Alan, what's going on? Doc7, Dave in Maine, Gary Carpenter. I see Dario's here, Sunshine After Rain. Western Mass Dave, Diana, New England Crypto. DM is here, thanks for joining. Lena Sandoval. All of our moderators, Crypto Meme, Sunshine After Rain, and many others. Thank you so much. Mary's here, welcome. So right here is the brand new Hell's Kitchen by Gordon Ramsay. This is a new restaurant that just opened up right across the street from Aston Martin. We're going to be checking out the valet. Now, there's no occupancy yet. I don't think they have what's called the COI, the certificate of occupancy. But right here is the main valet at the Aston Martin residences. This is where you go up to the parking garage. And here's kind of the main sign for the residences right here, 300 Biscayne Boulevard. Kind of cool. Lux Travels just drove past you. Should have honked. You should have. That's so funny. What do you think about the new Aston Martin building here? It's beautiful. I think you guys are going to like it. Many of you have already seen it, but for those of you who are new here to Walks on Wall Street, everything that you see here about 2 months ago was totally barricaded off and boarded up with construction, essentially like scaffolding, everything like that. There's brand new sidewalk here. There's a beautiful fountain. You're looking into the main lobby of Aston Martin right here. And if we continue to walk all the way down, what's going to come into view is an amazing shot of Brickell Key, which is its own kind of mini private island just off of Brickell and downtown Miami. Really nice. Now, if you see this one road right here, let me give you a little bit better perspective. They widened it and they repaved it. I don't know if all of the traffic that's going to come from the brand new Aston Martin residences is going to be able to support, or I should say, I don't know if this road is going to be able to support all the newfound traffic coming from the tenants here at Aston Martin. I don't know. I think you're going to see even more traffic in Brickell and downtown Miami once you have people actually moving in. Founder of San Francisco, hey, thank you so much for being here since the very beginning. We appreciate it. Appreciate your support. I think this is one of my favorite views here. The skyline of Brickell Key overlooking the water. And if we turn the camera a little bit to the left, this is where all the cruise ships pull in. If you squint really hard right here, you could see South Beach in the south of 5th neighborhood, South Point Park, which has amazing views of downtown Miami. As we sweep the camera to the right, here you have Brickell. This building right here is the Icon Brickell, or the W Hotel and Tower. It's just really spectacular. It's absolutely amazing down here. And I'm kind of glad I was able to miss my flight back to New York, because I think this trip really solidified me wanting to move down here permanently, which is scaring me a little bit because I love New York City, but just the quality of life down here in Miami, it's kind of unbelievable. It's almost like not even real. It's kind of like living in a video game. That's really the only way I can really describe it. Here you have just a very unique shot of Aston Martin right here. And let's go ahead and get this walk started on the brand new Riverwalk. Hey, Wall Street Finance guys. This is Hey Tom. Glad to catch another live stream. Appreciate it. Just another quick announcement now that we have some more people in here. Today is Thursday. So just remember, every other Thursday, right as the market closes, that's when we email out our free investing letter, newsletter called Behind the Street. We took a little bit of a different turn this week. So we're actually going to have 2 newsletters back to back. We usually do every other week, but we're actually going to have another one Thursday. But this was essentially a little bit of a recap and a history lesson of just how we got to this place that we're at in the financial markets, with, you know, equity indices hitting all-time record highs, average sales price of a home in the United States hitting new all-time record highs. Let me try to plug in the microphone. Give me a second. All right, the microphone's in, so the wind noise should be reduced a little bit. And we also did a deep dive into the FDIC's Q1 banking report, right? Because there's a lot of news, there's a lot of headlines, and there's a lot of like eye-catchy kind of fear porn type headlines about how, you know, a lot of these banks are suffering tremendous losses on a mark-to-market basis. And I just kind of outlined and explained exactly what that is, right? And essentially, to get us out of the 2008 financial crisis, not only the Federal Reserve, which is the US central bank, but central banks globally really adopted a new style of monetary policy called ZIRP, which is zero interest rate policy, which essentially got us out of the financial crisis, but simultaneously, unfortunately, what that created is what I like to call a kind of a two-tier society, lopsided recovery. Because if you think about liquidity, who are those individuals, by and large, who had access to all that cheap debt or all that cheap money? Well, it was the top 10% of Americans, right? It was large corporations, institutions, high net worth, ultra high net worth individuals, family offices, and the like. And yes, that created a massive wave of innovation, everything that we see today with cloud computing, enterprise software, SaaS, AI, machine learning, which created numerous amounts of jobs, took the unemployment rate from the depths of the financial crisis, about 10.2% was the unemployment rate, massive. GDP growth was negative 2.6%, right as we were just at the depths of the financial crisis, and really turned all that around. But that created a lot of inflation in terms of asset prices of both stocks or equities and real estate. So go ahead and check out that newsletter. We kind of did a deep dive breaking down and we pulled some data from the primary source, which is the St. Louis Federal Reserve website. You can go line item by line item, and I put all the links there, where you can see the breakdown of wealth from the top 1%, 10%, bottom 50% in the United States, and kind of calculate just how much wealth. Oh, look at this Cybertruck. This is like probably the 10th Cybertruck I've seen today. Anyway, go check it out, and if you have not subscribed to the newsletter yet, if you scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, it'll take you directly to our Substack. Once again, we publish every other Thursday. Now, you know what's funny? We're outside of the Aston Martin residences, and I've seen every type of car brand except Aston Martin. I've seen Teslas, BMWs, Lamborghinis. What else have I seen? I've seen a Lucid here. I've seen every vehicle known to man except the brand of the actual building, Aston Martin. I feel as if they should have like a crazy Aston Martin concept car propped right here. Anyway. But yeah, missed my flight to New York, had to miss my flight to New York, which is good news. Business is picking up down here, and we will be back in New York City tomorrow, so apologize for the inconvenience. Hey, Bree Grams, what's up? Dario. Tom says, I thought you were going to be in New York. Yeah, I missed my flight, but I had to miss my flight. I had a little bit of an emergency meeting I had to be present to attend. But I will be back in New York 100%, God willing, tomorrow. So I really quickly just want to explain this. This is a brand new dock here for the Aston Martin residences. They actually, I think it's called dredging. They made, through a dredging process, the water a little bit deeper so yachts and boats and things like that can pull up here. So if you don't have a car, you don't, want to take an Uber to the airport or whatever. Let's say if you have a place in the Bahamas or something, you could just pull right up on your yacht and walk directly into the Aston Martin residences and walk right up to your apartment. You can come here by boat, which is pretty unbelievable. Check out this boat coming by here. It's really just a futuristic city. Miami is really amazing, and every time I come here, I just get more bullish on it every single time. It's just really an unbelievable place. And I know I say that every time, but it's true. I mean, just a really, really good quality of life down here. Let me say that. All right, so let's continue to walk down the newly completed Riverwalk. This is the west lobby at Aston Martin Residences. And then we'll walk over the Brickell Bridge. That'll take us to what they call the Mini Manhattan. Hey, what's up, Joe E? What's going on? Wall Street Finance guys has agreed, love Miami. It's an awesome place, man. It's really, really cool. I had dinner tonight at that new place, Julian Henry's. It was really good. I ate at like an Italian spot. Pretty good pasta. Food was good. The atmosphere was really good. So this now connects directly to the Marina at Epic Hotel and Residences. So it's really a complete walk around now. So here's a quick look back. And it brings you right to the Epic Marina, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and walk up the stairs here, and we'll continue on our way to Brickell. Man, it is packed here tonight. Look at the valet. It's like overflowing with cars tonight. We're going to walk directly past the JW Marriott. Hey, Michael, what's up? TK Porsche, welcome. You know, and during this trip to Miami, we've been talking a lot about the new development that have been going up and will continue to go up. Next week, I'm going to be uploading a standalone walking video detailing each and every single new building that's going to go up in Sunny Isles Beach, which is really considered the billionaire's row of the South. Once you come over from North Miami Beach and you bang a left and you head north towards Hollywood, Florida, you're going to come across, well, number one, it's going to be the Bentley Residences, which they just broke ground on. Then number two, you have the Turnberry Ocean Club and Residences, which is unbelievable. Right next to the Turnberry Ocean Club, you have the Porsche Design Tower, which is, again, pretty incredible. And then 2 lots past Porsche Design is going to be the brand new St. Regis Residences, which is going to be 2 towers. You're going to have a north tower and a south tower overlooking the beach. It's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be pretty exciting. And they're already selling out. I think the north tower, or was it the south tower? Either or, at the St. Regis is already, I think, 80% sold. And they're selling for top dollar in terms of price per square foot. They sold and closed already, pre-construction, the $55 million penthouse at St. Regis. Pretty crazy. This is the Miami Tower, or the City National Bank building. And here's the JW Marriott. Hey, Eddie, what's going on? Bree Grahams, welcome. RJ from Colorado. Founder at San Francisco. This is Tom, you just walked past like 80 Bentleys. I think I'm trying to get my footing identifying all the different car brands, I guess. Hey, Andreas. Good to see you. Welcome. Okay, so we are now going to make this left on Brickell Bridge, and we will officially complete the transition from downtown Miami to Brickell, which is the financial district here in South Florida. And we will have enough time tonight. We'll walk right past the One Brickell City Center, which is a Related Properties and Swire Properties development, which is going to be great. Hey, average viewers here, thanks so much for joining. Brad's Brains is how was my trading day today. I didn't change any of my positions at all, but the past 2 weeks have been tough. I've been shaken out of a lot of stock, but it's all right. It happens. It's part of the game. So this is where we just were, everybody. That is the Miami Riverwalk and the epic Marina. And you have this fantastic view of Brickell Key. Wow, check this out. I think generally this is probably one of my favorite views here. Wall Street finance guy. What I try to do is identify a stock that has pretty much lights out sales and earnings growth, and I try to accumulate a massive position in that stock and sit for 6 to 8 beat and raise earnings reports. So do the math, like 2 years. Now, managing the position, trading, in and around, trying to reduce the volatility as much as possible, but studies show that if you can identify a company, and if you check out the newsletter, we kind of explain that strategy. Intraday volatility has actually contracted quite a big deal on Wall Street due to computers, algorithmic trading. And most of the price action in a stock happens after hours, mainly around event-driven events, which is like earnings. So if you're not sitting through earnings, it's going to be really, really tough, to buy a stock and have it go up 50, 60, 100, 500, in Nvidia's case, 700+%. So I try to just find good businesses that are compounding out revenue or earnings 25% plus quarter over quarter, have very high pre-tax and after-tax margins, and I try to build over time big positions and just sit and ride those waves, which is a lot easier said than done. But generally speaking, I don't like to trade. I like to accumulate true market leaders, sit in them. Number one, because I don't want to pay the tax, and I want to be in these individual stocks for the big move. Again, easier said than done. This is a really cool shot, guys, of Aston Martin. Look at how insane that is. Chris West, hey Tom, what do you think Roaring Kitty is going to say on the live stream tomorrow? You know, I heard about that. I'm probably going to tune into that. I'm quite intrigued. I'm not into any of the, you know, the meme stocks, any of that. It's not my thing. Another Cybertruck. I mean, most of the Cybertrucks that I've seen are all in Miami. I don't understand it. Crazy. But yeah, I'm intrigued about it. I'm intrigued about it, but I also try not to give it too much attention because I just would never buy any of those stocks. I mean, more power to him. Right? I mean, I hope he makes $1 billion off of it. But I think the vast majority of people getting involved into it and speculating on it are going to lose money. So we'll see. TK Porsches are all over LA too. Yeah. Maybe anywhere where it's nice weather, or just like a very high concentration of wealth. LA, I mean, super high concentration of wealth. Miami, high concentration of wealth. New York as well. But the thing about New York is the Cybertruck, you can't really have a Cybertruck in New York City. We've seen a few of them on the live stream, but it's not feasible to have a Cybertruck in New York City. There's no way you could park that on the street. All right, Icon Brickell. Let's cross this way. New England Crypto says Kava is down 7% today. Yeah, indeed it is. New issues or new IPOs are always going to be very volatile. Usually, 9 times out of 10, I don't get involved in new IPOs, but Kava is a different story. I'm covering the stock actively. There's a really good book I always recommend by my friend, full disclosure. It's called The Life Cycle Trade by Eve Bobach and Kathy Donnelly. The way I'm kind of modeling Kava is a similar growth trend to Chipotle. Now, Chipotle is very, very scalable, and I think the reason why Chipotle is so scalable is because the menu is not very large. It's a very, very simple menu. The more options you give people, the harder it is to manage that quote-unquote inventory. Like Sweetgreen, the menu is so big, there's so many different things. If you could have just a very, very simple menu, you can control that supply chain and make it scalable. That's a very, very good business. So I think my favorite companies, and it's not a recommendation to buy or sell any stocks, but my favorite kind of QSR, restaurant, fast casual restaurants is Chipotle, Wingstop, and Kava. I think I'd probably say in that order. I mean, Wingstop is super scalable. It's chicken wings. I mean, there may be different sauces, but generally speaking, it's one product. Very simple. People love chicken wings. They have a very, very high concentration of repeat buyers and repeat customers. Same thing as Chipotle. People could eat Chipotle every day. But now what I'm seeing is some people are going to Chipotle on Monday, going to Kava on Tuesday, rotating it and switching it up. And another really, really good strategy that Chipotle did, and Chipotle really pioneered this whole thing, is have super high concentration around big metropolitan areas. New York City, Boston, LA, Miami. The big cities in very, very densely populated places next to big office buildings, they dominate. I think the average Chipotle store in net income generates $400,000. That's pretty massive. So I mean, imagine that at scale, right? I think Sweetgreen loses money per store. So I think it may sound weird to say this, but Sweetgreen is too healthy. And I understand that's weird. It's not, I probably shouldn't be saying that. But in America, Sweetgreen is just way too healthy, where it totally cuts off a portion of the population. And some people don't like salad. Salad doesn't have as big of a total addressable market as Mexican food, rice and beans and chicken. And I think Cava also has a smaller TAM than Chipotle, but it can have a pretty big runway. So we'll see. The restaurant business in general, and I don't know too much about the restaurant business. One of my good buddies is a chef, Michelin star chef, and owns a co-owner in a restaurant, and he says it's tough. Looks can be deceiving in the restaurant business. And maybe some of you who are watching this broadcast, maybe you agree or maybe you disagree, maybe you do own a restaurant, maybe you don't, but the margins are very, very slim. It's very, very slim, and it's not a scalable business. It's really, really not, particularly for sit-down restaurants. And I think, e-commerce and the internet and software have really changed the game. The reason why software is such a great effing business is because it's so scalable, because your TAM is everybody. You can have a software company in rural Indiana and sell your product to somebody in Buenos Aires, Argentina, or Seoul, South Korea, right? It's so scalable. But if you're in Midtown Manhattan and you own a steakhouse, you can't sell your product to that person in Buenos Aires. You can't sell your product to that person in Seoul, South Korea. The only people that you could sell to are the people in the close proximity, and it's more difficult to market, right? With software, or in any of those type of scalable businesses, what you can do is run targeted digital advertising and just calculate the ROI on your advertising spend. And you could grow crazy, crazy numbers. I mean, just look at Salesforce. Just do a look back on Salesforce, the company, CRM, their revenue in 2013, what it is now, and look at their net income. It's a very, very profitable company with very, very high gross margins. Same with a lot of these software companies. Meg Berg's, his restaurants only make money on cocktails. Is that true? Yeah, I guess drinks and things like that are higher margin, I guess. Or else is why are software companies doing poorly on the stock market recently? We talked about that and we wrote about it in the newsletter. Look at this robot. Look at the Metro mover going over. So in this new interest rate environment, Fed funds rates 5.25%, 5.5%. We're coming off about a decade of ZIRP, zero interest rate policy. And the way most money managers and analysts on Wall Street essentially like model a company or model a stock, evaluate a company, is through a DCF model or a discounted cash flow model. And if you have the discount rate or the interest rate extremely, extremely low, well, the value of a company's future cash flows are now worth more. But when you flip that scenario and you raise interest rates, well, the present value of that company's future cash flows diminishes in a really major, major way. And that's why you had this huge renaissance in enterprise software, SaaS, over the last 12 years. It doesn't mean these companies aren't making money anymore. They're making a lot of money. It's just the market is assigning them a different multiple in terms of price to sales, in terms of price to earnings. Look at this. So I don't know, and there's a really good podcast episode. Chamath Palihapitiya, David Sachs, and Friedberg, they were essentially kind of explaining this and kind of talking about the same thing that we're talking about, is will the market ever assign these crazy multiples for these companies anymore, since we are in a higher rate environment? So I think the market has adjusted to these new valuations. Many people would argue that these valuations are still pretty high. But I just think this is the new normal. So it's not that, yes, you're right, RL. Hold on, let's let the robot go by first. I think if I walk in front of it, I mess it up. Sometimes if you walk in front of these things, it'll stop and just sit there, and then the person's not gonna get his food or her food. But anyway, I think that's why you have a lot of these SaaS companies, they have to grow into their multiple. You had a lot of pull forward in the pandemic, tons of SaaS spend. If anybody worked in telecom sales or SaaS sales, software sales during the pandemic, chances are you made a small fortune because there was so much pull forward in revenue. I mean, just look at Zoom. I think Zoom videos are really good. Oh, yikes. You guys didn't see that, but this Vespa driver almost got clipped. But Zoom video is a really good example of that. There was so much pull forward in revenue. And if you look at, on a quarter-over-quarter basis, the increase in revenue from 2020 to 2021, it was in the triple digits. It's nowhere near the triple digits anymore. And that doesn't mean that Zoom is a bad company. It just means that there was so much pull forward, essentially in that, I think that guy to our left was Dan Mala, or Ben Mala, big real estate developer here in South Florida. Gary Carpenter says, Tom, turn off your Wi-Fi. Why are people saying that? Anyway, that's what I think. I don't know, what do you guys think? Yeah, Ben Mala, I think, is a big real estate developer and investor here in South Florida. I think we just passed him, just off to our left. NAV407 says, Tom, I thought you were going to be in New York City tonight. Yeah, I missed the flight, but I had to miss the flight. We will be back in New York tomorrow, guaranteed. Yeah, so apologize for that, everybody. I just had, my boss needed me to attend a meeting in person that was canceled originally, but on my way to the airport, I guess the meeting was back on. And yeah, I had to quickly throw on a suit and attend it. So tomorrow, God willing, we'll be back in New York. Although I'm not too upset about being in Miami for an extra night. I'll say that, but. All right, here we are at the Brickell City Center. RL says Google is looking to buy a HubSpot. They were, but I think after the most recent performance in Salesforce, I don't know if they'll go through that. Gary Carpenter says you keep buffering. I think it's just your internet. I don't think we're buffering. I don't know. I think that's probably on your end. Anyway. But yeah, you know, I'm pretty happy to be back in Miami for a longer period of time. Oh wow, he's doing a haircut on the street. Wow. That's cool. He's giving a haircut on the street. That's a New York thing. That kind of reminds me of New York. All right, so we're going to walk past the SLS Lux residences. Hey, Davi, what's going on? This is good evening, Tom and everyone. Good to see you, Davi. How's everything in the hedge fund world? Any updates? I'm assuming pretty good. You know, quite contrary, and Davi, you could probably relate to this. It's a lot easier to raise money when stocks are up and everything is going up than it is to raise money in a bear market, which is funny because you should be giving your money to really good hedge fund managers in bear markets when asset prices and valuations are down, as opposed to when you're already in or at the top of a massive bull market. But that's just essentially how things work. Now, this is the Panorama Tower. That's the tallest building in Miami, soon to be dethroned by the Waldorf Astoria residences in downtown Miami. That's going to be the tallest building south of the World Trade Center. This is Moxie's. If you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams every single day starting at 8:30. Brad says, Tom, I asked my nephew, college kid, if he's heard of Kava. He hadn't. I think that's good. Well, what state is your nephew in? Because there's a lot of states that Kava is not in yet. Carl Roth says, Tom, the markets are cautious, low volume trading, as if a correction is coming. We feel that here in Toronto, Canada. Well, I think Toronto's easing now, right? Or Toronto. I think Canada now is starting to ease monetary policy. I don't know, I think I agree with you, Carl. Particularly some of these TMLs like Nvidia. You're starting to see a lot of gapping action here. Gapping up, exhaustion gaps. So, you know, markets at all-time record highs. Really quick announcement, everybody. Go ahead and check your email, because I did just send out our free investing newsletter called the Behind the Street newsletter. We publish every other Thursday right at the closing bell. If you want to sign up to receive all of our equity research for free, scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and it will take you to our Substack. Thank you all for reading. We now have 5,000 readers, which I appreciate very much. So thank you for reading my work. TK Porsche's ECB made its first cut today, 25 basis points. Now, what do you think that does to inflation, if anything? What are your thoughts? QBiz, what's up? What do you guys think of the facade of some of these buildings with all the rainbow stuff here? Hey, Patrice, good to see you. Yeah, Brickell's like a much smaller Manhattan, but a much more colorful Manhattan, I think. Davies is way easier to get investments in bull markets than bears. Unfortunately, things here in Brazil aren't that good. All major hedge funds are underperforming. Now, do you only invest in Brazilian equities? Because it's an interesting point, because you are correct. US equity markets have been absolutely on fire, right? S&P 500 yesterday, brand new all-time record high. NASDAQ 100 yesterday, brand new all-time record high. So that's really causing a liquidity suck from the whole world into the US. You know, big AI plays like Nvidia, semiconductors, so looks like US is one-way street. This is Moxie's. They always have a pretty nice crowd outside. It is quite humid tonight though. This is probably my first night in Miami where it was actually summer weather, where it's humid, but Davi, another thing that I wanted to tell you, so Fisher Island, if you're not familiar, it's just south of South Point Park. The vast majority of buyers of real estate right now on Fisher Island are the Brazilians. I don't know why. Maybe they're trying to have some diversification in, you know, to rip liquidity out of Brazil, store it in parts of the world that are close-ish, you know, access to investments in Latin America, things like that. But Fisher Island, a lot of the most recent sales that I'm familiar with, and hopefully we'll get a pretty big listing on Fisher Island soon, lots of Brazilian buyers, like tons and tons of Brazilian buyers on Fisher Island, lots. Particularly in that new development 6 Fisher Island that the Noble Black team at Douglas Elliman is going to be running sales on. Anyway, just wanted to know if you heard of any or have any clients that are looking to buy here in Miami. So you can see a lot of this stuff is closed down here now because I believe they're going to demo Mary Brickell Village and build super talls in and around it. So anywhere you see the low rise here in Mary Brickell Village, like across the street, this is all going to come down and they're going to build kind of those big, what's it called? Kind of super talls like you see here. Hey, Tom Smith says, Tom, your humidity is 79%. It definitely feels like it tonight. And, you know, I'll tell you, this summer in Miami so far hasn't really been humid. It's actually been kind of dry. So tonight is really the first time where it's actually felt like Miami's supposed to feel, which is really, really humid, like crazy humid. So. Chris West says, hey Tom, that was a good call on Nvidia's top. When your friends start asking if you bought Nvidia, yeah, I know. Now, it's a little bit funny, it's a little bit cheeky, but it's also quite true. Last night was the first, I should say, night or day where I started to get some text messages from friends who know nothing about the stock market. And periodically, when things are trading near all-time record highs, they'll text me, hey, did you buy this hot stock or did you buy Bitcoin? And almost always, I don't know what it is, but almost always, like a week or two after I get those texts, that's either like a cyclical top or like an intermediate term top in some of these stocks. So just use that warning with what you may. But Nvidia is gapping up a lot. Hey, what's up, man?
Can I say hi?
Sure, say it, yeah.
Oh my God. Hey world, how you guys doing?
Good to see you, man.
Good vibes. Hey, spread
Very
love.
good vibes, bro.
Spread love, spread nothing but positivity, okay?
Agreed.
You will make it. Whatever you do, just keep on keeping on, all right?
Appreciate it, man.
Hey,
God
man.
bless.
God bless, man. Have a good one.
Have a good night. Stay safe. Thanks, man. But Nvidia and a lot of other TMLs are starting to gap up repeatedly on very, very high volume. That's usually what you call exhaustion gaps. If you ever studied Elliott wave, or what's the other one I'm trying to think about? Wyckoff theory, Richard Wyckoff, Bernard Baruch. That is kind of like a market topping cycle. I'm not going to say the market's topped yesterday, but I think if you have pretty good profits in all of these TMLs, which almost guaranteed you do, I mean, the things are up so much, I'd probably blow some out here, and then as these things correct, just let the moving averages take you out. And if it really starts to get going to the downside, breaks the 50, just blow the whole thing out, and just don't be afraid to buy these things back as they break back above the moving averages, right? You kind of have to be willing to trade in and around these positions. Or not for nothing, I mean, the VIX is still relatively low, so you're not going to be paying out the ass for premium in some of these options. So if you have like a prime broker or something like that, if you're running money, have them price out some hedges for you. Yeah, I noticed the people in Miami are a lot nicer. I think it's just because the quality of life is better. It's more relaxed down here. People are really nice down here. TK Porsches, Nvidia remains about 30% above the 50-day. Now, historically, when a stock is 12% elevated above a 50 or the 50, it's due to pull back at least to the 21-day. But look, I mean, these stocks are so powerful. I mean, we've never seen a company like Nvidia ever. The earnings growth, the sales growth, it's unbelievable, and it's liquid. It has the liquidity. I mean, if you're an institution, you know, and you're moving crazy size in and out of the market, you need liquidity, and a name like Nvidia will let you get in and out very easily. You know, like people like me and you, and I mean, maybe not people watching the stream, but people like me, we don't necessarily need the liquidity because we're not running billions of dollars. You know what I mean? So it's very hard for us to get stuck in a stock. But some of these institutions, you know, if they want to take a big position, or if they want to let rip, you know, $1 billion worth of stock, chances are they're going to affect that price. But in a name like Nvidia, it turns over so much every day. It has tons of dollar volume every day that it's very easy and seamless for them to get in and out of this stuff. All right, let's continue down South Miami Avenue. This is a good ramen spot. Let's actually take a little detour and check that spot out. Or maybe it's closed down. I'm actually curious now. No, it's open. Yeah, this is a good spot. I've eaten here a few times. Usually there's not a lot of good ramen in Miami. Hey, slacking the day away, what's up? Bot Zero says bubble, maybe. Now, Stan Druckenmiller said something similar. He's like, look, you're probably gonna have short-term froth in this big AI wave. Just like in every major new event or thematic market, things tend to get a little bit ahead of itself, and then it corrects, and then over the long term, it does really well. I think what's different about Nvidia is it actually makes money, but not only does Nvidia make money, it makes so much money that it's almost like cartoonishly ridiculous, to use that phrase that I use all the time. That's the main difference. So I see a lot of people posting, you know, the chart of Cisco during the 2000 tech wreck, and then saying, oh, Nvidia is following the same exact chart. In my opinion, you can't compare the two. Now, I'm not saying Nvidia stock can't go down, but you can't compare it. Compare the earnings power and the earnings growth of Nvidia now to Cisco in 2000. It's just, you can't even, the amount of money that Nvidia generates is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's such a profitable company. Most of these companies in the year 2000, some of them were even pre-revenue. Some of them didn't even make any revenue, let alone profits or net income. So I think that's important too, to remember. There's a really cool house. It's like a teeny tiny holdout house here. Could you imagine living in the middle of Brickell amongst all these high-rise condos? Or maybe it's condemned, maybe it's sold. But look at this legit mini teeny house here. Crazy, right? This is the Metro Rail, not to be confused with the Metro Mover. This is what you call the underline. So in Manhattan, we have the High Line. In Miami, you have the underline. Let's go all the way down to the water. We'll check out the river. Or as they call it on this side, the Miami Greenway. This is the Publix to the right. Ah, the greatest soccer player of all time, Messi. Wow, Dan McLaren's is sold for $6 million to a developer. Wow. I feel like he probably could have got more, he or she. But there's probably restrictions on how high you could build. But still, pretty good deal, right? $6 million bucks. Here's the Publix. Davi says, hey Tom, about the Brazilian real estate buyers. There are a ton of real estate development / investment firms aiming at Miami market too, not just the individual buyers. That's good intel. Thank you for that. Yeah, Fisher Island seems to be a lot of Brazilians, and Sunny Isles Beach. This is the Publix again. Sunny Isles Beach is what you would call Little Moscow. So lots of Russian community and a huge Ukrainian community too. Pretty much every condo up and down Sunny Isles Beach has a huge population of Russians and Ukrainians. Davi says, can find you some names if you're interested. Yeah, I mean, seriously, if you send me an email and let's connect. We should connect because we are actually looking for land here. We're actually looking to buy land to develop something here. But the problem is it's very, very expensive. But yeah, send me an email. And I mean, we're always looking to do deals. Polar Vortex says, Tom, Nvidia made about $50 billion last year and made $50 billion last quarter. It is just getting toppy. When just yesterday added $155 billion market cap. Yeah, I mean, you know, when you have, like I said, companies on a year-over-year basis, I mean, think about that. 50 billion last year and then 50 billion in a quarter. It's just insane growth. We've never seen that before. So, you know, like I say, things are expensive for a reason and stocks are cheap for a reason. But the shareholder value that Nvidia has created is almost unbelievable. Think about the employees of Nvidia, everybody. I mean, even let's say if you were a recent college graduate 2 years ago, you got a job at Nvidia, you participated in your, you know, employee stock purchase program. You're probably worth just in the stock alone, like $500,000 to $1 million bucks, just for working there for 2 years in just the stock compensation alone. If you've been working there since 2013, 2014, you're probably worth $50 million bucks. It's very possible that you could be worth $25 to $50 million if you've been working there for 10 years. That is not uncommon. So the value, and that's the importance. It's a good lesson. That's the importance. You have to invest your money. You have to put your money to work. You can't earn your money. You can't earn your way to millions of dollars for most people, right? You've got to be an equity holder in something that appreciates in value over time. The metro rail. So this is a pretty cool view because you have the Miami Tower, you have 50 Biscayne right here, and transitioning all the way to Brickell. This is a very Miami shot right here. I'll take you guys to the water. We very, very seldom come over here. We'll check it out. This part of town is newly developed. There's bike lanes, dedicated pedestrian walking lane, and a really, really nice park right on the river.
Again.
3T3 is Publix is the Wegmans of the South. Yeah, Publix is a cash cow. Now, Publix is not publicly traded. They're a private company. I kind of wish Publix would go public, but there's a lot of reasons why less and less companies are coming public nowadays, and a lot of it is the regulatory hurdle. You know, if you're knocking down billions and billions a year in net income or profit, then you have to go through all the regulations, all the disclosures, all the nonsense to be a publicly traded company. It's just like, you know, why? But a company like Publix, I kind of wish they would IPO, honestly. Okay, so we are coming to the end of the underline. I think these are my favorite palm trees, with the coconut trees with the palms spread out so wide like that. And this is a really beautiful park overlooking the water, and you have a great view of downtown Miami and the Metro Mover. The Miami River Greenway. This is kind of an interesting view right on the river here, and an interesting shot of the other side of Brickell City Center. You could see the letters City Center pretty clear from here, and it looks like this vacant lot is going to be developed into something probably pretty massive. What do you guys think? Dario, this is Tom. What is your opinion about Starlink service? They are coming to my country here in Argentina. I think Starlink is awesome. Over time, I think the technology is going to improve in a major way. and it's going to really help a lot of the flyover states in America connect to good internet. So I think Starlink is awesome. Anybody here in the chat have Starlink? I don't have Starlink as an internet provider, but if you've ever flown American Airlines and if you use the free internet service, I think that may be powered by Starlink, I think. One of the, I don't want to get that wrong. Maybe somebody could do a quick Google search. Which airline is powered by Starlink? I forget. Is it American or is it Delta? This is so beautiful over here. It's almost unbelievable. That's really the only way I can kind of explain Miami, is like, it's quite literally like living in a video game. Because each neighborhood is so different, and it's so easy to get from each neighborhood to the other, especially if you're on a Vespa. Like from here, I'm gonna cruise all the way up Biscayne Boulevard, go over to Collins Avenue, and it's just seeing all the lights. You're right on the water, you're on the beach. It's crazy. It's like you're living in a video game. It's wild. Okay, Carl Roth says Virgin Airlines is using Starlink. I knew it was one of them that had a partnership. Someone says, ever go to Liberty City? Yeah, I've been there a few times. It's funny. I recently played a pickup soccer game in Liberty City. I believe that's the hometown of Chad Johnson, or Chad Ochocinco, who was probably one of the most famous Cincinnati Bengals players of all time. I think he was born and raised in Liberty City, Miami, I think. Something like that. Pretty rough neighborhood, but this is a cool bar that overlooks the river here.
I got one. If you help over, Roger corner kick. Late clock. Stats. I got one.
Carlos says Liberty City is the hood. Yeah, it's a little rough neighborhood for sure. Yeah, I recently played a pickup soccer game there, which was fun as hell, man. Let's just say a lot of people have really good senses of humor there. Dave says, how's Ocho Cinco the pup doing? He's doing good. He's getting older though. But he's still kicking. He's doing good, thank God, right? All right, let's go back to the main Brickell City Center. T3s. Did anybody watch the SpaceX Starship today? I was watching a mini kind of documentary series on it, on just the overall space program at SpaceX. I was watching it on the X platform. It's pretty incredible what they're trying to do. And I think they'll pull it off. We will probably become an interplanetary species within my lifetime, which is cool. So who knows, maybe in 80 years, we'll be doing this live broadcast on Mars. Never know. Wouldn't rule it out. What time is it, everybody? It must be like 11:30 at night now. Okay, this is going to take us back to the main drag here. Here's the valet to Saks Fifth Avenue. Not as nice as the Saks Fifth Avenue in New York City. In terms of the facade, I don't know about the inside of the store. This is KPMG in the WeWork, as well as McKinsey. This will take you through the restaurant where there's, I guess you could technically call it the outdoor dining, but it's still inside. Usually they don't allow filming in here, but I'm surprised there's still people in the mall at almost 11:30 at night. This is where we saw Ben Mala about 30 minutes ago. Look at the murals.
Bro, I just won 50,000 euros, bro.
I'll quickly show you guys the inside since this is our last night in Miami. This is like their indoor-outdoor mall. Everything is interconnected. in all of Miami right here. So we'll leave you off with this. If you guys enjoyed the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new. We'll try to zoom out to the wide angle lens. We will be back tomorrow, live from New York City. Once again, if you want to subscribe to our free investing newsletter, just scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, and you will be subscribed to our Substack. If you're already subscribed, make sure you check your email because we just sent it out. So everybody, take care. Hopefully you all had a wonderful time in Miami, and we will see you all back in the big leagues in New York City. Take care.